show up on the 18th and voice your opinion how important or not important you think that is would also be helpful. But we fully understand as a council the importance of that link, and it will be addressed on the 18th.
I want to add to that, and thank you for the comments, Chris, is that at the hearing on April, especially you, Chris, and the Weigel pushed to make the location of that east-west connection through the town and country. Unfortunately, the language right now is a compromise, where yes, the east-west connection is important, but it's not identified where it should be. So the November 18th is the opportunity for this council to make a final decision. If they leave the language, yes, we will provide an east-west connection between Palm Canyon and Indian Canyon, but they don't make a specific finding within the specific plan and the EIR, very important, and the EIR, that street can go through town and country, then investors, lenders, and retailers probably will not commit, because why should they spend money and time on planning the Palm Springs downtown if there's uncertainty if that street's going to go through or not? The council voted, and we're on the right path, we're working very well right now with the current council on these issues, that the town and country should not be a Class 1 historic site. But they didn't make the decision that we are able to demolish and tear down the town and country in favor of a new project. Yeah? That needs to be approved in the future. It needs to be endorsed by the community. And that's the language, or that's what we would like to see November 18th, to make a clear decision that the town and country, for the benefit for the desert fashion pattern, for the benefit of downtown Palm Springs to revitalize it, can be torn down, and that such a demolition cannot be stopped because CEQA laws or because certain groups want to save it in its current state. And that's very, very important.
Michael, you're really...
Let me add one more thing.
What we have to have a statement of overriding concern in the specific plan, in the story proposed that. That's all we have to have, that the street can go through. Otherwise, we get sued a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever we want to do it. It's as simple as A, B, and C.
And that basically comes back to the point that the building can be torn down, and not because of historic significance, the lawsuit can be filed. And that's why the council can make that decision on November 18th. To make something very clear, we will not tear down the town and country until we have a new project that a council has to approve and that we want to build. And nothing will happen what happened on the Fort Lawrence side, where basically the buildings were torn down. But let's be very clear, why did the Fort Lawrence buildings have been torn down? Because at the time, Lawrence Way was concerned. He got the decision by the council that he's allowed to tear down, but he was afraid that this decision could be overturned in the near future or he will get sued. That's why he tore down the building the next day. He would like to reverse it, to have the buildings there right now, because then he could at least spend
get some income, right?
Yeah,
but I hear that argument all the time. What's better, torn down building or vacant buildings? Right. I mean, the developers have to come in and really work hard to fill these buildings up, not just say, hey, maybe in a couple of years we're going to build on it, and nothing ever gets taken.
We have there are units rented out in the town and country center right now that provide income for us. Why would we tear it down and don't have that income and have continuously the same cost, meaning interest rate payments to lenders and property taxes and maintenance? It doesn't make any sense. The reason why Lawrence Way was building down because he thought he would start the construction right away, and then he got caught in the financial meltdown, and that was not his fault. That was the economic environment.
Well, my question, maybe this is quick. Procedurally, what you really need is a resolution for the council endorses or requires a statement of overriding concern. You have to have a resolution in the council that night.
I think the comment that John made, that he mentions, the council and the staff fully understand that condition needs to be acted on.
Let me say it this way, the specific plan that this council will approve needs to provide in its language that the street connections to the town and country is possible, and there is, from an environmental point of view, there will be stated in their overriding consideration, meaning for the better good of downtown, it is okay to demolish the town and country center. Right now, the language just says there will be an east-west connection, but we don't know yet where we want to have that. We need clear cut. We need basically an envelope, an environment that we can move forward with an application for that project, that we can put a street through there. If we don't know with 100% certainty that we allowed to put a street through there based on the CEQA, then why would we move forward with the application?
You know, you go past all that with the town and country, but being a merchant in downtown, you know, and being down there for almost 18 years, I find it kind of interesting that the conversation doesn't go on with, if you do the east-west connection, what happens to Palm Canyon Drive north-south? I mean, before I opened my store, that's when the old Bullets building was there, you know? I would sit there and mark how many people walk on this side of the street, how many people walk on that side, how many people went to the Plaza. And it's real interesting when you have tourism in this town. You can be 3 feet off the groove and you're out of business. I mean, location, location, location. And I find it real interesting, if we change the downtown corridor and you put all of the new emphasis on the east-west, what happens to Palm Canyon and the village? And, you know, not to go back over that whole thing, but I'll defy anybody to sit there and say, if you're on Palm Canyon Drive and you take 10 steps inside La Plaza, which is east-west, and just the opposite of what you're talking about, what's the exposure to those stores? So,
Let me ask you this, you're familiar with the river project in Rancho Mirage?
am I familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The river was built and the city contributed a substantial amount of money to make that project happen. One of a sudden you had a core project with energy that basically spilled over to other neighborhoods. And what happened after the river was built, movies opened up across the street, Dean Crosby opened up across the street, two-story office building opened up across the street, hotels were built towards the north side. So once you have the energy in a particular area in downtown, there are spillover effects that will basically replicate and help each other. So there I'm not concerned. Look at Mercado Plaza. Yeah? That whole area. That's a vibrant downtown. That's where downtown is right now.
That's right.
We need to create a similar energy right in front of where the town and country is, where currently Sixth Avenue, or the former Sixth Avenue building. That's where the next energy point in downtown has to happen. And from there, you see spillover effects. And look at North Palm Canyon right now, where all the furniture stores are. They have established themselves as a destination for furniture stores, which is a wonderful thing. We have